So, it's been a couple days since the recording, and this is a good one. Kind of want to mention, you know, it really is like we talked about it beforehand. It really is about trying to perform for friends and just everybody. That's all it's about. And big thank you to Jamie and Adam. Jamie created some art for the show that it's really good. She colorized some of my art, and Adam, just because he's genuinely a really gangster fella.
A special guest, Diana Argueta. And we also have other people too, like this white kid, Adam Russ. And we also have, I think she's Filipina, Jamie.
What?
I think she's Filipina. I don't know. Jamie, are you Filipina?
Huh?
Are you Filipina? Or Pinot? Is it Pinot or Peanut? What do I say? Is it Filipino?
Peanut?
I think it's Pinoy.
Panoy? I shouldn't be asking.
I'm part, yes.
Don't ask other people's races.
Part, yes, and it's Pinoy or Pinay.
So we just learned a little bit about Jamie. She's Pinoy or Pinay, and Adam is some type of German, probably.
Wait, could you tell that? Would you believe me if I told you I'm part Italian?
Yes.
Oh,
I would believe it.
It would be wrong of me to assume. Because that's how racism works now. And oh, Diana is Cuban.
Oh my God, no.
No, she's like Panamanian or something.
Or something.
I'm Salvadorian.
That's it. It's one of those ones. All right.
It's one of those ones.
Central America, I think.
Yeah, that's what that's why I was like, the Panama Canal. Oh, I know. I'm not good at geometry.
I'm not good at geometry either.
I'm the host, Taylor Lozano of the Murder Van podcast. Welcome, pedophiles I've trapped to what's the term? What's the concentration camp thing? Like reintegrate. No, it's not reintegrate. It's re-education. Welcome to my re-education program. Okay, that's that's what I've been thinking is like, what do I want to perpetuate? Because I've seen other podcasts where it's like my favorite one is Harmontown, and they're a town and he's the mayor, and the guy who helps him host it and is like the MC, he is the comptroller. So I'm like, I guess I'm the host, but what is the I'm the navigator, but then like I need to eventually get somebody to drive, and Adam's the only one who's been here every single show. And so I don't know. I'm not gonna assign a German to drive me though. So we'll talk about that later. Maybe
I feel like this is just like a talk show.
Yeah, no, it is. That's what I'm thinking.
And Taylor, this is your show. This is like inside the mind of Taylor Lozano. Like that's just that's the way to put it, and it works.
And we just go along for the ride.
That's what I want. It's like you're getting in a van that you don't know what is inside it, and you don't know where it's gonna go, but hopefully the things in that van are like candy and toys.
Okay.
And Drake Bell and Josh Peck. But then like sometimes
we get Megan.
Yeah, sometimes it's like racism and Megan and blah blah blah. So it wasn't really racism. We dug into race. I think I got a little racist, but then I also
Oh my God.
the thing is that we kind of I've kind of known for a while is that I'm like technically half Mexican. So technically I'm a mutt. So I can say whatever I want, but also technically I've got privilege, so I can't. That's what privilege is technically, is I look white, therefore I am.
Technically.
I'm going to say something, and I don't know if it's racist, but Taylor, honestly, for a long time, I thought you were Asian.
Yes!
Like, You're always
That's
a
what
person
I'm
of color
looking
to
for.
me. I was like, okay.
Look at the Asian guy here. This is awesome. Oh man.
But then your last name threw me off, so I was like, okay, wait. I was
So
like one
maybe
of those Mexicans.
I got the first thing we
One
gotta
of
talk
them.
about. I got the first thing we gotta talk about then, and then we'll go to the thing that I was gonna go to next. So I have three people here, and I want to know from you three people, which person you think I look the most like? I guess.
Oh boy.
Because I'm sure, I'm like almost 100% sure one of these people sometimes gets mistaken for being Asian. So that's why I want to bring this up. All right, so we're going to start with our first person. All right, this is somebody just told me just the other day, my cousin Aiden, who I kind of want to talk about him later, but I just heard from him the other day. He goes onto my Instagram. I haven't seen him in like 4 years, 5, 6, 7, 10 years. He goes on my Instagram and he is like, oh, is this some of your art? That's cool. That's cool. Holy shit, you look exactly like Jim Carrey. And I was like,
What?
I
Wait a
don't
damn
see it.
second.
But I was thinking if I pull the ponytail thing out for a bit and I do like which one would be the one? Like I could do this one maybe, like
I was gonna say the Mojo one. No, the Mojo one where the
Mojo.
right side of it is black and white.
Oh, let's look at this. Oh my
I
god!
could see it. Okay.
I don't really know.
It's not exactly like me, but it's pretty close to me. I have
It's
another
pretty similar.
person that I'll show you guys the last person in a bit, and then I have a story for you. But like, yeah, this is one that I've heard a couple times, and I think it's my like crazy faces that I do. Like and that's the interesting thing, right? Is like when people see you as somebody else, or when you impersonate somebody else, it takes almost fucking nothing to convince them of that. So you could like what is it? We just did one of the sketch shows, and somebody dropped out, right? And I think you guys all saw this one where Matt, our actor, dropped out, and he was playing our character, the Mist, who is like a character. So we were like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? We don't have anybody that can just play any character. And I was like, what if I just do my Christopher Walken impersonation for 10 minutes? And that ended up killing, because all you have to do is go like, no, and like that's it, and people laugh at it. At one point I went, Natalie Wood, and there was this 50-year-old guy who was like, ha, because Christopher Walken might have killed a girl named Natalie Wood.
Oh my god.
So there's that, right? There's Jim Carrey is an option just because of the like. But the second person I got, you guys can see it right there, is Tom
Cruise.
Right?
I can see that one.
I see this one
definitely see
more
that
than
This
Jim
one.
Carrey.
This
Yeah,
one, because
Jim Carrey, I was like, no.
I don't know if you're cheesy enough to be like Tom Cruise though. Like that's like a
Right?
certain
I
degree.
could be. I could be, but like that one, right? I could do this, but I could also
You
Or-
look like you could be related to this actor named Diego Tinoco.
Diego
Yes.
Tinoco.
Right there. He was on
Oh.
On My Block.
Oh, choke me, daddy. Okay. Okay. All
You
right.
look
I'm
like you could
into
be like
this.
his brother or like cousin.
I
to
could see that
me.
too.
Wait, come on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wait, I need something. Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that.
He is kind of everything.
Check out those cum guzzlers, yo. Or what is it? Cum gutters.
I'm like the one right next to the picture of him and a girl, like where he's just
The black and white one?
oh no, onto the right of that one.
Oh.
Oh wait, yes. I'm like that one, I see it personally. I think it's just the eyes
you
mostly.
think? I think I got it. One more. This is one I have never heard, but every time I tell people it, they go, oh, okay. So Taylor Lautner.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I hear it a couple times, and it's a fucking curse. But if I do this, I got it. Yeah.
That one, yeah. This one clicked for me. That one's real. You do look
So-
like Taylor Lautner.
Okay, so Diana says Taylor Lautner. What do you guys say?
You
Adam,
know,
Jamie?
I'm still feeling Mr. Carey personally.
Okay, Jamie.
I'm saying Tom.
Well,
We're all different.
dang, I look like all three of these handsome, talented men. Darn. This is turning into a circle jerk fast. So I'm gonna show you another person. Okay, real quick. This is gonna take me just a second. Okay, bear with me. All right.
All right, we're bearing.
The
We're just
last
chilling.
And this one's really, really funny because I got a hold of this picture when I directed Calendar Kids because I was like, oh, we need a picture of somebody who was in the military. Oh, this person kind of looks like Craig, but they also very much look like me with specific features. It's literally my grandpa.
I knew it.
Yeah, like he just the smile in general, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god.
so,
He was kind of hot, to be honest.
oh,
That's
dude,
everything.
my grandpa was a beefcake. I had a hard. No, I can't say that. I'm not.
Yeah, maybe
no.
don't finish
I
that.
fucking dude. I used to tell this joke about how when my parents got a divorce, I became my dad's lover. Like that was like the punchline of the joke. So it's like sometimes when I'm about to say something, I'm like, turn that shit off. Okay, this is something I kind of wanted to bring up. Nobody was there except for one person. Should I even say this? I
mean,
was
you're
in my
too
home.
far now.
Okay, in my home, I accidentally said the N-word the other day.
Ooh.
I was watching
Ouch.
Atlanta and I was quoting the show, and I got so wrapped up in regaling the story that I just like jumped into a voice in a word and didn't think about it. But it was also like the person in Atlanta, I don't know if you guys have seen Donald Glover's stand-up before. He literally says in his stand-up, like, white people got to say it eventually. And I'm just like, I feel like we're in this weird moment of flux where like, yeah, we keep hearing that, but then we're also like, I don't want to be the one who gets shot. But then it's also like, I used to say this in my stand-up too. If you really, really think about it, no matter what society says to us, no matter what we come to the conclusion of in race relations, there is nothing stopping anyone from going home and calling their dog the N-word in private. Like, there's nothing. It's sad, right? Like, there's nothing we can do about
my
that.
gosh.
Dogs are just dogs are all getting called the N-word, and there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, moving on. It's nothing. It's not
Oh
a
my
subject.
gosh.
Is that like a common thing? Do people do that to their dogs? I haven't heard of that one.
I don't. Okay, I
It
will
is to
say
me.
I personally am very against non-black people saying the N-word.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just like,
I am too. So that's
I
the
guess.
problem.
But I will, while we're on this topic, there's something, I don't know. Are you guys on Twitter?
Nope.
Should be.
There's this thing recently where it's like black people are definitely getting very sensitive, I'd say, and they're starting to say they're just like, if you even like read the word in your head, like you're racist. And I'm like, there's tweets everywhere with the word in it, and that's where I'm just like, that's pretty dumb. I think they're just like, oh, I bet you had to like say it in your head, like reparations, and they're like dead
Yeah.
serious. Like they're like, if you read my tweet with the N-word and not skip over it, you're racist.
Yeah.
Twitter is
that's a
Twitter is
little-
funny as
that's a little
shit,
much.
guys. It's insane.
No, I
And
mean the
Cap-
one.
Everything on there is insane.
The one thing I kind of agreed with was like there was a Kendrick Lamar concert a little while back, and yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
No.
Go say
Yeah.
it. Tell
Well,
us.
I'll say it for our audience. Kendrick Lamar invited this woman up on stage to like rap with him, and they were doing his song "Mad City," which has the N word in one of the probably in multiple of the verses. I don't even remember, but anyway, she was like doing the verse, and I guess he thought she was gonna skip over the N word, and she did not. And it was in front of the entire audience, which was being recorded, by the way, because it's on YouTube. Um, and he like blasted her. He's like, "What?" He like stopped her immediately after she did that. She's like, he's like, "No, you don't get to do that," like, because she was
Damn.
white.
It's this hard edge right now, right? Everybody wants. Okay, so it's like the people who want tolerance and the change in society and stuff don't feel like, and this is just based off of a lot of the things I've heard over time, and I agree with it, but also I disagree with it. It feels like there's a lot of people who have taken something like a sociology class, you know, and they kind of learned like the veil was lifted and they learned how fucked up the world is. And from there, they started to make this thought of like, look, this is how it is. And it's not your right to ask a question about it one way or the other. You should just assume and should just know. The problem is there's a lot of people who come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds who do not want to be told that they don't know something, first off. Second off, do not want to be told that the thing they don't know is something that they can't do. And third off, don't want to be told that they need to get themselves educated, that the person who's laying down that conviction is not the person whose responsibility it is to tell them why they have that conviction. The problem with that is you would think, oh, well, that'll teach them a lesson and it'll bring them to our side. Nope. They're ignorant for a reason. They really want to be ignorant, and it's how the system is. Everybody wants to fit into their niche, and so it's like the people who learned and know how things work do not want to break out of that and try to figure out how to explain it. And the people who don't understand how it fucking works don't want to learn because the people won't teach them. So it's like, my thing with that situation is he should have brought her up and explicitly said how he felt about it if he had a problem with it. Otherwise, the problem comes down to if people react to the situation and we all go, oh my God, that wasn't okay. Take a step back and talk about it then if you didn't choose to talk about it beforehand.
Right. And I mean, I agree with what you're saying too, because in that instance, she kind of became defensive immediately because he like cut her off. He's like, whoa, and she's like, what, bro, what? As if she didn't do anything wrong. And
she also like in that moment, she probably was scared. 50,000 people in an audience, and a guy who writes some of the best rap music in the world, like yelling at you in that moment and telling you did something wrong. Motherfuckers will spill a glass of milk and be like, I didn't do that shit. Like, everybody gets defensive at some point or another. You cannot fault a person who's getting attacked for going into defense mode, you know? You have to know where they're coming from. I feel like so much of my journey over the years has been trying to teach myself because everybody else refused to outright teach me anything. And so you have to just learn through trial and error. And what that ends up happening is a lot of people think you're a fucking asshole for it because you're trying to learn. I remember one time I stupidly got it in my head that this happened when I lived in LA and I was working at the Pantages, and I got it in my head that, oh, because the black guy who works with me is British, he's not going to mind if I ask about black culture in Britain. But the fucking problem is everybody else did, and so did the other black guy. And they understood after I asked my question where I was coming from. But at the same time, it's just that, and they're right. They're fucking right for it, for being pissed off at me for bringing it up in the first place. The problem is I probably have Asperger's or something. I haven't known for years how to talk to people. Not like it's funny. It is funny. We can laugh at my Asperger's, but or whatever the fuck it is. I'm on the spectrum somewhere. But the thing about being on the spectrum is if nobody explains something to you, you will not fucking learn it. And almost everybody has that. It's not a spectrum thing, but a lot of people go through that of like, you did not explicitly tell me. You did not explicitly show me. And so many people want to default to the system is you go to school and you get educated, and because you didn't go, that's on you. But guess the fuck what? Not everybody can go to school. I didn't go to no school, and I didn't go to no Museum of Tolerance because I was stupid. Like, nobody pushed me to do these things. So it's just, I don't want to go into it too much more because we talked about race for so long last week. It got bad. It was a long time. But it just like, it kind of does bring me into one of the things I wanted to talk about today. So I don't know if you guys heard about this, but I just wanted to give a little shout out to this thing because I'm kind of excited about this. Turns out that Canada has legally found the first Canadian ever, and I believe the first person ever in almost the entire world, found guilty of an incel-inspired terrorist attack. It's only a matter of time before we start going after the racists too. But if there's anything we've learned about incels and racism, they kind of go hand in hand.
They really do.
Yeah. This motherfucker stabbed
Incels
someone too, like 2 years ago.
Are funny as shit. Wait, there was another girl that died recently. Like he like cut her head off or like slit her throat really hard, like almost decapitated her. I recently saw her. She was like 16 and she got murdered after a concert by an incel. But she was like, okay. It's problematic, I think. But yeah. I'm just like, I apparently was like a real bitch, like on Discord. Like she was just always in these groups, like fucking with all these guys and just being like mean as shit. And then one of those guys killed her. And then people, it was in this Facebook group I'm in, like Sanrio related. And they were just like, oh, she was so pretty, like an angel. And everybody was in the comments like, do you know like what she did, like how she treated these people? And then everybody else was just like, okay, but she was 16, like she was gonna grow out of it. But it's like, isn't there a point when it's like she literally spent all her time on the internet like driving guys to suicide? Like that was like her goal. She was evil. And then one of those guys just like murdered her. And I'm just like, I mean,
it's hard, right? Because
revenge.
She you know, everybody engages in their own type of lifestyle. And I think that you just have to ask yourself at the end of the day, no matter how much anybody's an asshole or how they make their money or anything, do people that, and I'm not saying anything about you, Diana. I know exactly where you're coming from. You said explicitly beforehand, I fucking hate incels. It's funny. So like, it's not me saying anything about you, but anybody who's on this fence about it, like thinking about, yeah, it just literally like comes down to like, do you want?
Oh my god.
No. On the fence about like what the fuck is it, and like, should we punish them as hard as we punish them, or like, what's both sides of the story? My big thing always comes down to is when somebody's willing to hurt somebody else, there's no fucking argument, you know.
That they were wrong.
So have you seen Best Father Ever? Or Father of the Year. So I think it's called Father of the Year. It includes the late Robin Williams, who, bless his soul, I miss that man. Fucking was directed by Bobcat Goldthwait, of like the like stand-up comedian who we always hear about growing up, but none of us have ever seen, who is like that guy. He directed and wrote the movie. Apparently, I think he wrote it. And the script is this dad has a son. His son's a fucking asshole. And he's a jerk to everybody. He like is kind of incel-y. He's extremely obsessed with masturbation. And he gets into autoerotic asphyxiation. And what it leads to is his death. What ends up happening is dad then goes, I don't want anybody to think this about my son. And so he writes a letter. From a suicide note from his son, and it's detailing like he actually was a soft-spirited kid and stuff, and then the whole school changes their perceptions about how he is just based off of it. Heathers is the same thing, right? It's a girl gets killed, and then they write a bunch of suicide notes and stuff for her to make people think that she wanted to kill herself. And what ends up happening is everybody goes, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful and so deep." When a week beforehand, she had been like calling people faggot and stuff. So
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
yeah. So they both tackle that same issue of like, if somebody does something as an asshole in life, does that mean that we can't mourn them in death? And I don't think that it does. The problem is there's almost always going to be somebody that hates you. And no matter who is fucking dying, there's going to be at least one person going, fuck that guy. He took my spot on the bus when we were in 3rd grade. I'm not going to go to his funeral. Like, somebody's going to be hung up on you for some reason or other, even the nicest people. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of good. Like, it sounds bad, but it's kind of good that she was so, taking the word slutty back. I'm not saying it is a bad thing. She was like so slutty. She made a bunch of money. She was an asshole to people. And when she died and was murdered, everybody mourned her. Like,
Exactly.
that's fucking.
Everybody was like, this is incel, like, this, like, they go to, like, those people are crazy. Just turned into, like, oh, all incels are like that.
Yeah.
Which
And-
I'm like, they're just, I'm not
What's
gonna,
It's
pathetic.
involuntary
like, I
celibate.
don't know.
Yeah, it's not. That's where it comes from. Is literally like they can't get sex. That is. And it's not. It's. My thing is that when you're
I
identifying as
want
an
to say
incel,
something so bad, but
say it
hold
if you
on.
want to. Dude, I talked about.
Okay.
I don't want to say it again.
I'm gonna like whisper it. I think my cousin is an incel,
Oh, okay.
and
so
he
now
lives with me.
Well,
It's hilarious.
it's
I'm literally, I mean,
everybody probably knows one, and
oh yeah,
everybody knows one. Everybody can think of a person that they're going right now. Oh, now that I kind of know what an incel is, I think so and so is an incel. But the biggest thing that seems to define an incel is how the fuck are you dealing with your problem? Like,
they don't.
No, they don't. I could have
No.
easily identified as an incel 10 years ago.
Oh my god.
Easily. I'm a white cis male most days. And like, I had moments where I had extremely bad perceptions of women. And the weirdest thing is I dated a bit when I was younger, and I still had negative perceptions of women. It's the things we're hearing. It's not the people we are. I don't think anybody who's an incel is a bad person. I think anybody who's
Me
an
neither.
incel, yeah, they're in an
Oh
echo
wait,
chamber.
actually, never mind. Yes, I do. Wait,
Maybe-
but what made you change your perception? I'd say. Like,
It's-
are you different? Did you just?
Oh
maybe-
no. So
Okay.
no, I am. It a lot of it was when I was in this relationship. There was a lot of discussion about feminism, and my mother is a feminist, and so for years, every woman should be a fucking feminist. I don't understand any person or any woman that says they're not a feminist. Do you love your mother?
They're dumb as shit.
Fucking feminist.
That's
If you
it.
don't want women to be dead and want them to be able to vote, then you're a feminist. So my mom pushed that shit into our head from childhood. So I've always been like, no joke, when everybody else went to the Museum of Tolerance in high school, I was like, I don't
What
gotta
is
go.
that? I've never heard of that.
It's a museum in LA, and
Okay.
Holocaust survivors take you on a tour where they discuss things like the Holocaust. Some people
Oh my
talk
gosh.
about the racism in America. They talk about the Zoot Suit riots of the 30s. There's a lot of things they go over about, like, these are moments in history when we've been racist, and this is why we work so hard to avoid it again.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember people being like, oh, at the end of our tour guide was like, and do you see that baby in that picture? That is me. And they were like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, there were babies in the Holocaust, you guys. And like, I have always touted myself that, but I did not realize until I got older, like, how many things people still have hang-ups about, and how that doesn't excuse anything in me. The same thing goes for making jokes about women and sexism and stuff. When I was younger, I was taking an English class. This is where the kind of like change happened though. When I was in college for a year, I can't remember how long I was in college. I took an advanced English class, and one of the stipulations in it was like gender differences between men and women in literature. And I actually got super, super into it. I was, the Handmaid's Tale is one of my favorite books. Like there was we read Farewell to Arms and talked about how fucking sexist and terrible of a writer that Ernest Hemingway is. Like there were a lot of good things that came up in that. But then at the end of the class, part of my thesis for that class was we had to pick a topic and write a research paper on it, right? Like with any other English class or advanced class. And I was interested in the difference. I was having trouble paring down my vision, and what I landed on was the statistical differences between men and women in sexual assault cases. And like, I can't remember what it was that I was trying to say. It was such a long time ago. I just think it literally was who has the higher rate of incidents. And the big thing I learned is that nobody fucking knows, because men are so underreported and women are so highly reported, not to mention women are more easily manipulated physically in so many ways. And statistically for a lot of women, they have less muscle mass and stuff like that. And so it just makes more sense, not to mention the high levels of testosterone in men. So it was, for me, a really interesting subject to dig into. And as I went into it, some of the things that I came across, and you guys, before you judge me, just know I was coming at it from a scholarly journal perspective. I was only using scholarly journals. I started looking up stuff on men's rights, not understanding that at that time, and especially within the last 5 years or so, that term specifically refers now to the sexist like ideologies of these male groups. I don't know what you would call what I was researching anymore, because to me, what I was researching is the rights of men, not necessarily from a we are more oppressed standpoint, just nobody's spelling it out literally because we have more rights, but as somebody who has been abused by other people and like been through my own cases, not all of them men, quite a few of them being women too, it was really hard, and it's always been very hard for me to reconcile what do I call that now. I now understand a lot better that men's rights is not the term, but again, I don't fucking know what the term is anymore, because to me, the idea of a man's role in society and what we're told to do falls under the umbrella of what we feel our rights are. And as somebody who has often been perceived as androgynous, that's a topic that I'm invested in, because I've said to people before, like, I'm not 100% on it, but I definitely don't 100% identify as a man. But I don't identify as a woman either. I don't identify as, I definitely sometimes identify as a third or fourth or 5,000th thing. There's something else that I am, and I don't know what
non-binary.
Something like that. I don't even think, the problem is I don't present as it and everything, but it literally is just the things people tell me that I'm supposed to be interested in, or the way I'm supposed to act that I don't act, that I don't understand. When I did stand-up, part of the reason I stopped doing stand-up was it is very much a boys' club. The girls who are part of it are really good at being part of the boys' club, and the guys who are part of it better be good at being part of the boys' club. I oftentimes was getting made fun of for my androgyny, and I didn't mind it, but at the end of the day, it really makes you question, like, what the fuck am I, if they all see me as that and the women perceive me as a man, where do my rights line up? So I guess that's part of where my divide happened, was realizing that it's not a men's rights. It's a it's this little teeny tiny niche I fit into. This Mexican, Chinese, white looking, can he play Hamilton? Can he not? Is he a man? Is he a woman? Is he into
I'm not trying to
theater
force
or
anything
sports?
on you, but I'm like, it could just be queer rights. Like that's
I
just
might be.
what it's all for. There's nothing wrong with being like non-binary. It's just
No.
like you can be either or. Like if
Um,
that's how you feel, or not even either or. It's
Yeah.
just I don't know,
so
very
that's
fluid.
why I'm like, I think that the LGBTQ thing is like, I don't identify as genderqueer.
Yeah.
But I you know, the place where I would fall is the questioning part. You know, but now they're like, that's not a thing anymore. Okay, so everybody's got to see this first. Data Bio Senpai Chan has entered the room. Senpai Chan, what's up? I was like,
Hi.
I saw that pop up and I was like, that's fucking cool.
I was just
Oh,
reminded of Elijah's Grill Daddy, and I was like, you know what? I want a cool name too.
that's a good one. That's a very good one. I like that one a lot.
I
All
think
right.
I'll go by whatever I'm wearing.
Yes, that and I'm loving the outfit today. What we see here, Adam right now walking down
Mm-hmm.
in a lovely Naruto Leaf Village sweater and a Super Mario Odyssey hat is Jamie Lee Kua Stridiron. Jamie Lee Kua Stridiron, tell us about what you're wearing today.
Fashion, learn about it.
Well, fuck you then. All right. Well, then we hear you're gonna be in Jack Black's newest movie show. That's gonna premiere on
He asked me,
YouTube
yes.
at the same time. Yeah. What's
Mhm.
that? Tell me about that. What's that about?
Top secret, confidential, can't.
It's about
Damn.
James Bond. All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Jamie Lee Stridiron. It was great.
Anytime.
Now we know about her outfit and why she's bringing it. Okay, well, that was Adam. You got to step up your game, man. You're
I
falling
mean,
on-
this is like premium German
Premium
silk, you know?
yeah. Okay, he's got that Hitler gold clothing. Jamie, we had this running joke during Trail to Oregon that Adam and Adam and the guy who played McDoon, Andy is Wynn, right? Andy Wynn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I loved him.
He they're both so chill and they're both like they're always full of these surprises. So Elijah and I had this running joke, and I think Diana also, that they were competing against one another for the rest of our affection based off of being the coolest people we know. So essentially they're both constantly competing for the number one position, and that is it. I think you were in first because of
Oh.
your proclivity for Arby's, and you worked for the PAX franchise board, obviously.
Yeah, I know.
And also, he would just show up and be like, "You guys want some salmon jerky?" You'd be like, "How'd you get salmon jerky?" You'd be like, "I made it."
Wow.
And yeah, and it was
True.
delicious jerky.
It was good, man.
But
Oh.
then one day, old Andy comes into rehearsal, right? And he's got a stack of Pokemon cards, and he's fucking dealing them out.
my
Oh, I thought you were gonna talk
gosh.
about the tarts, man. I
The-
can't forget about those tarts.
The tarts were
Dude,
gangster.
The
That's when I
tarts
was
were
like,
good.
this motherfucker knows what he's doing. Diana, we're just talking right now about how Adam and Andy Wynn from Trail to Oregon were constantly they were always fighting over the rest of our affection, essentially. So Andy comes in and he has a stack of Pokemon cards and he's dealing them out. And I'm like, that's cool, dude. I didn't know you could. And he was like, yeah, I compete and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. All right. And then somebody randomly asks, like, so you compete, like, how well are you? And he was like, I'm in the top 5% of the country. and the top
playing Pokemon?
yeah, and he was like, and the top 10% of the world. And we were like,
Whoa.
what the fuck is this guy into? And then it just shit like that kept happening. He'd come in with some new card game, and he'd come in and he'd go on this rant about Arby's for a half hour, and then Andy would come in and he'd be like, I kill elk, and then Adam would come in and be like, I grow sunflowers, and it was just this constant back and forth with my emotions, and I didn't know where to go ever. But man, oh, these guys are just always fighting for my affection. It's just
There's room for both of us, I think,
It-
because Andy is a gem.
That's true. Yeah, we can't be talking about him when he can't compete. I'm real sad. I'll tell you guys about this because maybe you might want to follow this. I've found something a little while ago that Lucas, who was with us last week, he's doing this project. He told me about it a long time ago. It's called Pat Sedina, Cyber Detective, and it's like this Adult Swim thing he's doing. It's not like for Adult Swim, but it's the kind of shit you find on Adult Swim. I won't turn the sound on or anything. I just want you guys to see like that. That is Lucas right there in the show. That is what he looks
That's
like.
everything.
That's his costume. It's this weird androgynous. She's like an alien and they solve crimes and it's the future, but it's like in their backyard. It's fucking amazing. There was this whole episode where it was like, I think it was their Christmas special, and like they raise her from the dead. And so Lucas the episode starts with like Lucas covered in like a wheelbarrow full of dirt, and he's like just rising up and going, and like that's the open. And then it's like 300 years later or something. Like,
Oh my god.
fucking genius. So if you get a chance, they're on Instagram, and his brothers. It's literally an Instagram TV show you can watch.
Wow.
So it's his brother's Instagram profile. His name is Tuck the Suck Man. If you search at Tuck the Suck Man, you will find him. So please do that. Now, I have another subject I want to bring up next. Just a little surprise. I had an idea this last week, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I have been devising a George Washington video game.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
it's
okay.
not changing over
Great,
fast enough.
okay.
But I was just thinking, what if there's all these historical games like fuck, what was the game?
Isn't
that I
there one
played?
with like Abe Lincoln is like a murderer or something?
whoa.
Or
That's
is
a
that
thing.
fake? Was that a
This.
movie?
Oh,
that
are you
was a
talking about
movie.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter or
Abraham
whatever?
Lincoln
yeah.
Vampire Hunter. That is the kind of that's kind of what I'm
That,
thinking.
but a game. Yes.
So it would be cool.
Very original.
So like, yeah, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter's the shit. The movie is pretty fucking cool. I fell in love with the movie when I first heard of it. And so my friend and I, she loves Abraham Lincoln and she loves Benjamin Walker, the actor from Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson, who played Andrew Jackson. And when I did Andrew Jackson, I found that out and I was like, holy shit, he's in it. I gotta watch it. It's not like the book is the thing. So she saw the movie, told me about it, and she was like, it's not like the book. Don't watch the movie. But there is a book called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It is amazing. Almost the entire book is about Abraham Lincoln's suicidal tendencies, and almost the whole book is about suicide. It's fucking
That's everything.
crazy. There's this whole, you guys know about Abraham Lincoln. He didn't carry a gun on his person because he was
Mhm.
scared he was going to shoot himself. And so the whole book keeps going back to shit like that about his depression and how he dealt with it, and how he, like, before he got shot, he was really, really depressed and just coming out of it, actually. So this is the same idea. So in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is like cool because it has actual historical elements that are intercut with these huge scripted battles about him fighting vampires. And he teams up with Edgar Allan Poe and blah, blah, blah. And so I was thinking the other day, I was like playing Ancestors. I talked about it on the first episode, the monkey
Oh, yeah.
game. And I was like, the monkey game's pretty good. It's just taking the basic elements of like what it would be like to be a monkey for a day. And then I was like, what would it be like to be George Washington for a day? Like, is that the same game? Do you just bang rocks together? Or like, do you have to like the game starts and it's like you need to evolve faster than humans. Try and find out if there's certain things you can learn. Bang rocks together. And then like makes a cut and it's like 15 years later and you're George Washington chopping down a tree. and then it's like 200 years later or like, no, 3,000 years later. And it's like, Mr. Washington, we brought you back to fight the Clapsorks. And then it's like George Washington coming out of suspended animation. And he's like, oh, let's go. And then it becomes Halo. And then it's like a Halo game, right? It's a first person shooter. And then and then there's like a big explosion. And they're like, Mr. Washington, grab my hand. And then it fades to black. And then it's like 300 years earlier. and then it's George Washington and he's on the fucking Potomac and he's crossing with the dudes. And then you do the whole Potomac, like killing the British while they're asleep on Christmas Day. And it has its own mechanics. It's like its own standalone game. And then it's like 200 years later. And then you're in, and then it's like a guy with a pickaxe and he's like, man, I sure working hard on this sewer, Sal. Hey, Sal, check out that box right there. We should take that out of the ground and put a sewer line or an oil line right there. And then Sal's like, hey, yo, man, I don't know if we should move this. It's got some written on it. And then the other guy's like, what's it say, Sal? And he's like, George Washington? And then a fist bursts through the board and punches him in the face. And then Washington bursts out and rips the dude in half, kills the other guy. And then he's like, I'm back. And then it's done.
Oh my God.
And then the next scene is like you have to escape the sewers using your Washington abilities. And like you can like wash things to make them the original value they were. You have an axe to break through walls and stuff. You have the power to grow a tree wherever you want. In a fell swoop. And then it gets to the surface and he runs into a girl and he's like, what year is it? And she's like, it's 1992. And he's like, I went too far. And then the camera fades to black and it's like 300 years earlier.
That would be everything. Do you know how to design the game?
Oh no. So I got this game called Dreams a while ago, right? I got this game and it's pretty much for PlayStation, like they give you the basic elements of how to make a game. They give you some basic building parts, but for the most part, everything is user created. And you can build from the ground up your own game with its own physics mechanics, its own worlds, its own design. Once I got that far, I was like, I'm bored. This is too hard. But before I got that far, I was like, I want to make a game where you play a dude and like you have to poop in your hand and throw it at people and that's your weapon. And like I got to like designing a dude with big old butt cheeks that were gonna have poop falling out of them, but it's just like it's a lot of work, and I'm really good at premises when it comes to executing ideas. Unless I can write it down on a piece of paper and just hand it to people to do the work, I'm not good for that shit.
You know, I gotta ask with your George Washington masterpiece here, have you played Saints Row 4 by chance?
Saints Row, I think I played Saints Row 3. Maybe I played 4.
I would do yourself the favor of watching the intro of Saints Row 4 because it's like painfully American. Like it is it is so much America.
Oh, wait,
all at once.
You're like in the helicopter and you like shoot all the dudes and then you jump out and you have to parachute down and then get in a car and like drive the car through the city and chase a tank and then jump out onto the tank and then like break it apart. Is it that one? Because I played that one.
It's not that. No,
Saints Row games are fun. I love them.
No, it's like you're literally on the front lawn of the White House or whatever, and they're like
you
Mr.
play
President,
as the president.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're like Mr. President. They're attacking, and you go outside, and there's an alien invasion, and so you get on this huge ass turret, and you just start shooting at UFOs, and then you like have to go inside, and there's like these two dudes who like walk by you, and they're like, Mr. President, listen, and like. One proposal is like, if you sign this bill, you get to cure cancer, but if you sign this bill, you get to end world hunger, and you have to pick one. It's
crazy.
It's
right?
the most
like,
ridiculous opening of a game I've ever
so,
seen.
Ladies, I don't know if you know, Saints Row was this series that was created when the Xbox 360 came out. It literally was like, Grand Theft Auto is about to come out. Can we push out a shitty version of Grand Theft Auto before theirs?
Yeah,
And so they
much.
literally took the the Grand Theft Auto engine from like PlayStation 2, repurposed it into this new game, and then just doubled down on the shittiness every single game. So like the first game is like normal, we're all street gangs and stuff, but you're blue and I'm yellow. And like that was the whole dynamic. You're Mexican, we're also Mexican. I'm doing a Mexican. And then like the second one just built up the gangs. Then the third one is like, the gangs are so big, they have their own buildings, their own countries, their own like helicopters that they like control the world in.
Gosh.
So the game starts with you shooting a bunch of guys in a helicopter, you jump out, and you fly through the sky, you get in a car, you chase down a robot, and you kill it. And then Saints Row.
That's kind of how El Salvador is. Honestly.
Yeah. No, it's basically El Salvador times 10. And by the time the
It's run
fourth
by
one
the
came
gang.
out, you're just the president.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just you're the president.
Oh my gosh.
The third one literally ends with you becoming a world famous movie star that fights a dude on the moon, and then you both live, and then the end of the game is, and then we made a movie about it.
Oh
It's pretty
my
fucking
god.
sick. It's
What a
pretty good writing.
story.
No, it's a roller coaster of a game, but man, I would want George Washington to be exactly like that. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Is like with that kind of a game. The problem is there's these people going, I want to make these historically accurate video games, and I want to double down on the realism. You're going to be George Washington. You're going to wake up. You have to go outside, make some fucking hemp into a joint so you can smoke it while you go and bale your hay to give to your horse, which then you can ride it over to town where you get what? Celery for your wife when you go home. I don't fucking know what he did, but that dude's day-to-day life must have been some of the most boring shit ever. So I'm like, what would be better in a game like Farming Simulator than a game that's not Farming Simulator? Like the George Washington game is like, all right, now plant your cabbage because you're gonna go and do the thing, and then it's like level 2, 4,000 years later, and like that's the game. It's like going back and forth between a good game and a realistic game, because it's like I got way into this Ancestors game because I feel like I learned a little bit about how this shit works, not just from not necessarily from like I know the actual terms and I'm 100% great at evolution now, but literally just from I kind of got to live it and see how much work goes into evolving your species as a whole. Like I could not play that game for 4 million years, you know? So it's the same idea. I don't want to play that game for 4 million years. Make George Washington fly a kite and then ride in a robot. It'll work. It'll work. I have other things I wanted to go over. So, just going to, what did I call this? I call this YouTubes to suck and YouTubes to fuck was what it was. So these are my YouTubes to suck and YouTubes to fuck. If you suck it, that means it's good. If you fuck it, that means no. So I have 3 YouTubes I want to show you, YouTube pages I want to show you guys. 2 of them you will understand why you should be sucking on that YouTube channel, and the second one you will understand why that channel should go fuck itself or should be fucked by everybody else as a whole. So the first one is a beautiful, beautiful delightful channel called Ants Canada. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a guy.
Wait.
It's this guy in Canada, and he owns like tons of ants, and he makes a different video for all the different things the ants are doing. Why are my fire ants partying? My new colony of critically endangered beasts. And the best part is, this dude's some of the best commentary I've ever seen. I watch a lot of bug videos, okay? And like, some of them are like in Japan, where it's like, I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a whole channel where it's this Japanese game show where they put two bugs that kill in a tank together, and then you bet on which bug is going to kill the other
Oh
bug.
my gosh.
Literally,
somehow I can believe that exists.
oh, it's the shit.
Shit
It's so
like
cool.
that.
It's I'm like, we should be betting on those. But then there was another one where this dude's like, I'm just a dude, and I found a bunch of what are essentially black widows. They're called redback spiders in Australia, but
Yep.
they're basically black widows. And he's like, I found a bunch of these in my yard, and instead of killing them, I put them in a terrarium for like 6 months. And
For what?
for no fucking
That
reason.
sounds like
other than-
terrorism. That's terrorism.
So he got his channel banned, and he got most of his videos taken down because you're pretty much watching a bunch of these black widows kill different creatures. He's just feeding them over and over again. But it was fascinating just because of
Okay,
seeing,
that's
like,
entertaining. Yeah.
it was very entertaining because a lot of it is like, you apparently, when you have a bug, you have to put Vaseline on the exits and stuff of whatever enclosure they're in, because one, it'll make their feet slippery so their hooks can't grab on anything, but two, it closes all of the air bubbles. So if they sense any air holes in their enclosure, because the way enclosures work is a lot of the time they have filtration. So, see, I've learned a lot about keeping bugs, you guys, just from watching Ants Canada. A lot of these enclosures have air filter systems, otherwise you'll fucking be fucked. Or you use a cotton ball, right? You stuff it in there, and that'll filter air through. But occasionally you have to open them up. So you have to put Vaseline all along the sides. Here's the thing. These redback spiders like mate like crazy. And so he's got them all in a small enclosure. They start eating each other. They start eating their babies. There's millions of babies. The babies are so small that the Vaseline's not stopping them. They're finding the smallest holes in the enclosure and crawling right through them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so he not only starts to have a problem with the redbacks, but he starts to have a problem with them getting out. And the video series, I think, ends with him saying, I have to kill them all because they got out, and now I have a redback problem in my house. So that one's kind of cool just because it's a super good cautionary tale why you should not keep bugs unless you're a fucking entomologist.
Is that channel gone? Like, you can't watch the videos anymore?
I think those videos are gone. I believe his name is called, if I look at it on my side right here, it's called like, and I went through this the other day and I was like, what's one of these like weird fucking channels I found that I can show everybody? It's called Leo Kim or something like that. But I don't think most of those videos are on anymore, especially some of the ones where he's feeding them, because I mean, they're hard to watch. One of them is literally like, you watch a skink, which is a small type of lizard, just die for 30 minutes as it's inside.
I love that.
I
think life is worthless.
Leo Kim video. So that's what it is, if you're interested in it. Leo
Did you guys
Kim.
see that video of the praying mantis just like chow down on the murder hornet's face?
Oh,
Or-
yeah.
No.
Did you see the one
That was everything.
with the hummingbird
No.
in its
No.
claws? And the
What?
hummingbird is not dead.
Ugh.
It's just munching on its head. Okay. So, Ants Canada is actually supposed to be educational. It's the shit. This guy, he has music he writes. He pans the camera over all his tanks and stuff. He's like way into it. All of his commentary is, today, with my ants, I'll be showing you how my ants are going to be living today. Today, I got some bullet ants that I'm going to introduce to their enclosure today. Bum, 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 bum. They looked like they were sad. Like, it's great. It's the shit. And you know what? I learned some shit while watching it, but it's also just like, it's really interesting. I don't want to shit on this guy and the way he presents it because he's so fucking good at it. Like, he found a niche, he stuck to it. So suck this guy off if you can. If you
I say suck it. Yeah.
Yeah, suck this one. This is a good one. This is one you can fuck right now, okay? This person's name, he goes by Pogo. You might have heard of him. A lot of people have heard of his music because he does these covers where he takes certain bits of different Disney movies, remixes them. You know what? I'm probably gonna get flagged just showing all that. Fuck. I'm gonna have to put like bars on it. But basically, he like samples Disney and then makes music from it, right? And they're pretty good. I love his stuff. The problem is, this guy is a raging homophobic transphobe.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's Australian, right? And I started getting way into his stuff. He uses the same program I use, FL Studio. And he's basically the reason I taught myself how to sample it all. And again, he's really good. Like, I'm not going to tell you guys not to go to his channel. If you're interested in the music, it's some really good shit. The problem is he did release this really, I don't know how I came across this. I think it popped up on Reddit. Somebody suggested him. And then in the comments, I was like looking up some stuff and somebody said, oh, it's a shame he's a raging transphobic person. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Do some digging. And somebody was like, yeah, he explained himself. And I was like, oh, okay. So people accused him of being transphobic, and that's what happened. I don't even want to show his face anymore. I just want to tell you guys about him. So he says that, and so I'm like, okay, I'll watch this video. I pull it up. It is literally a video that goes like this. Hi, my name's Pogo. And you know, a lot of people have been asking some questions about my stance on politics or any of that stuff. Well, I want you to know that this is the way my YouTube channel is. It's not verbatim, but he's just like, I was found out to have a name here on YouTube, and my name on YouTube is Faggotron. Now, some people probably wonder why I call myself Faggotron. Well, it's because I think faggots are horrible people and they should be killed. And I think that they should all be, castrated and crikey. Like, he just went on, and I was like, he's gonna be like, but you know what? Listen to Disney, right? Like, I'm not actually sexist and homophobic, right? Nope. He was like, prepare to let me explain. I'm a fucking homophobic transphobe. Like, that's what it ended up being. So fuck that guy. And
I don't even fuck with Disney like that. So yeah, fuck it. I'm just
it's a fucking shame, because he's a really, really good artist. I find him in like Disney threads and stuff like that. I find him on all these video threads and music threads, and it's like, God damn it, are people not getting the idea yet? I looked at his channel, he's still got like 400,000 followers and stuff, Nobody wants to shut his shit down. A lot of people go separate the art from the artist, but as an artist, I know that my views have always elicited strong reactions from other people. And if somebody disagrees with me strongly politically, separate yourself from my art then, because that's part of me. I find it really, really disturbing that there's this dude who takes Alice in Wonderland and all this and stuff, and then he's like, I fucking hate faggots. Like, it's fucking weird that that's what he's doing. He should not get to benefit from that. Pogo, whatever the fuck Disney is doing right now, they should revoke his shit. Like, he should be slammed on his stuff, because I do not understand how there are still people out there getting away with it. But there's one more person I want to show you guys that is the antithesis of that. I don't know anything about this motherfucker, but this dude has some of the most interesting original choice in an artistic direction ever. He is named Brian. That's it. Brian. And he used to be Brian. And he alternated the letters. It was Brian in the first word, all uppercase. Second word, first letter was uppercase, second letter is lowercase. Third letter is uppercase, fourth letter is lowercase. And then the third Brian, all lowercase. It was this like really weird thing. And I guess because of Family Guy, because there's a bunch of memes now of Brian, that apparently that he had to change it. Now he's just Brian. So I found out about this guy because on Reddit, any of you guys use Reddit at all? Okay, so basically
Yes.
Little.
the way it works, Jamie, for your edification, is you have Reddit, you might have heard about it, and then you have subreddits. Like there's the main Reddit they give you where you just get basic stuff, videos, and atheism for some reason is a default subreddit to be subscribed to. But then there are smaller ones. I'm subscribed to the Community and Rick and Morty subreddits, but I'm also subscribed to the Dan Harmon subreddit, the writer of both those shows. I'm also subscribed to, Subreddit Simulator, which is literally a bunch of robots pretending to be Redditors. And one of the things I'm subscribed to is called Oddly Terrifying. And that's how I found Brian. This song is like, just to show you guys, I'll turn off the sound so I don't hear it, but just like, look how it moves and stuff. It's creepy and it's got this like eerie thing. But if you heard this song too, I feel like you guys would have a different perception of music too. This guy uses synthesizers voices, like Mostos and stuff, like how the computer voice sounds when you type in and it's like, Taylor is cool. That's what he's using. It's really crazy. He uses robot voices as an instrument in his music. And this song in particular is easily one of my favorite songs I've ever heard. I partially love it because it's only supposed to be able to be sung by a robot and I can sing it. So brag. And so I just want to show you guys like one of his songs really quick to give you an idea. Let me share my audio. If you guys want to turn down your audio real fast or anything, share computer sound, and then I'll play some of this video. Wait, did you hear it?
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds really trippy, and the music
I was
videos,
vibing with it.
Yeah, the music videos are trippy
Yeah.
as shit. But the cool thing is he has all these little stories in them. There's one where it's a man and a woman, and she's giving birth, and you see like a human face come out of her vagina and stuff. Like, it's crazy. All of the music
I love
videos
that.
have the like dancing people, but then their faces slowly get more and more like weird and distorted. It's just, all of it is like that. And it's beautiful to me from an artist standpoint. And I really want to know how many people would be interested in his stuff, because he's got a lot
I'm
of stuff.
definitely gonna look into that.
Please
I'd
do.
say suck it.
I have been into him for 10 years.
Wow.
And he's still making new material. He's still doing shit.
Damn.
He's doing art projects with other people where he's like, I think he's outsourcing the animation, but he's still doing the writing and the design and stuff. So it's just this really interesting thing that it's like, for right now, for example, right? Everybody's freaking out about, what the fuck can I do? I want to go do a musical and blah, blah, blah. Bitch, you got a computer, go and make a show. Like, sorry, I shouldn't say bitch.
Exactly.
It's derogatory. They should
love
go
that
make their own
word.
thing. The bitch is a great word. Hey, yo, dick face, you should go make your own show, because it's like, it's easy and it's possible. We're doing it right now. Like, everybody can do this shit now. And it's, this guy, he literally does the opposite of what everybody else is trying to do. Everybody else is going, I'm doing 3D animation and I'm going to make it beautiful. And he's going, I'm not doing that. I'm going to make it weird looking. And that's the thing that nobody feels comfortable with, right? Is almost everybody who wants to be a creator to some capacity does not want to be told that their work does not work. It's almost always the number one thing that holds me back is when I'm presenting something to someone and they go, oh, you're doing that, are you? And you kind of have to just like push through it. And what ends up happening is then you have this material that fits into a niche that people didn't realize they wanted. I didn't think any of you three were going to go, wow, that was cool. Because everybody I've shown thinks it's weird and creepy and uncomfortable. So it like, that to me, I think is what like art is supposed to be. It's supposed to be something, it's the thing. Everybody wants somebody to like their art, but not everybody's going to like your art. Good art will only be liked by the people you want to entertain. Here we go. Bio Senpai Chan. Who else we got? Okay, so that definitely sounded racist when I said it out loud. Definitely sounded racist. So I am not going to be saying your username anymore, Jamie, because it sounded bad. I did a voice. See, we established the rule earlier. We said when you know you shouldn't, when you do it anyway, you've gone too far. I did.
You breaking rules.
I did a Chinese voice. I did a Chinese voice.
Ooh.
Thing. Yeah, that was on me. Okay. Well, we learned our lesson, or I did. Hey, Adam, how's
Yes.
life? How's the sunflowers going?
Wait, I was actually going to say something else, but I'll circle back to the sunflowers.
Do it.
What I was thinking about as I just came back here, because I just used the restroom and washed my hands, is there was one time where, actually you were there too, the Federalist, the bathrooms there, they have dry soap pellets. It's not liquid soap. It is dried soap pellets that you dispense onto your hand and wet them and then wash your hands. And I still can't get over that because that is the strangest thing to me. I mean, I think it's genius, but it's also bizarre. And I don't know how I feel about it. And these are the things that keep me up at night.
Are you okay? So this will snowball me into another subject. Fuck the sunflowers.
They'll be there.
Do you feel sensitive about your hands?
Like I feel like
do you
people
feel
are judging me.
No, do you feel like weird about certain textures? Are there like certain textures when you feel them, it's like that's not comfortable, I don't fucking like that kind of thing?
I'm not as strong as some people are, but there are a few things where I draw the line. Like corduroy, I have a weird thing with corduroy, man. It's like I can't do it. It's weird to me.
Really interesting, because I have a weird thing about holograms.
Huh.
I do not. It is. I am how do I put it? I don't know about you, Adam. I'm an auditory learner, so people have to tell me things if I want to learn it, right? So I'm super connected to sound for me, like in terms of my functioning. I've always felt I've been connected to sound. When I hear somebody scratch on a hologram, like just thinking about it right now is kind of making me uncomfortable. That zippy sound makes me uncomfortable. Is that how you feel about corduroy? Like just thinking about touching it, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's like
fucking crazy.
I was gonna say when I touch it, I'm just like, this is not how fabric should feel. Like this is
Isn't it weird? Jamie, do you have something like that?
Chalk.
Oh, okay.
I've used chalk before when I have to, but don't
It's
like
interesting. As I've been working in mental health, I'm not really working in mental health. I don't count it as doing anything, but when you work with people with disabilities, you make a lot of observations, not only about the people with disabilities, but how you're working with everybody else too, right? Diana, you just came in at the right time. I don't like zippy textures like a hologram. Adam doesn't like corduroy, and Jamie doesn't like chalk. What's your thing?
Wait, what are we talking about?
Either a texture, a sound, or like a smell, a thing you just cannot stand.
Hate people that chew ice. Chewing ice is terrorism.
what?
If you
The
do it in front of me,
Okay.
it makes me want to die. Like, and the fact that I'm very vocal about it. I'm just like, and I have a lot of anemic friends, so they're just like, like this is my snack, and I'm just like, I'm gonna murder you. My sister loves chewing ice. Everybody people who bite ice. I can't even think about it. Bite
So wait,
ice cream.
I feel like it's kind of universal that so everybody agrees that when you bite down on a fork or a spoon,
Oh my God,
right?
yes.
That drives me crazy. I feel like that falls in the same
kills
category.
me. Yeah, it is.
So,
Or even like clinking them together.
ugh.
Like even recently, I have 2 hoop earrings here, and they were like clacking, and I was like, I felt like I was getting like stabbed. Like I was just like, I can't. Like just those metal ice.
And some
I'm sorry,
people-
I gotta disagree with you. Chewing ice is great.
You like? Oh no.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
But the metal
I don't
thing,
do
I'm
it.
with you there.
Yeah.
So it's like the interesting thing about it is that when it comes to autism, I've noticed everybody seems to have a textbook of things that like, oh, you're autistic, you must have blump, 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 blump. But the crazy thing is it's things like that make me believe truly that every single person is somewhere on the spectrum. Just
Yeah.
nobody wants to fucking admit it. Nobody wants to admit, oh, I'm 1% on the spectrum in this thing. I don't like fucking chalk or something, and not anything.
I
on Jamie.
honestly think I might be on the spectrum too, but whenever I talk about it, people are like, that's offensive to people who actually have autism. And
No.
I'm just like, I don't have any boundaries. Like
Yeah.
I will talk about anything. Like if anything, I'm always just terrified of like my public image. But if I'm like in person, like if I'm for some reason being recorded freaks me out, but I'm like, I'm fine with it. But if you catch me like at a party, I can't even say it. I say a lot of awful shit that people just like
That's
look
okay.
at me. And I'm just like, I mean,
But
did I
that's
lie?
not awful. That's not awful.
Like,
shit,
dare
in
I
my
even say the amount of times that I violate HIPAA? Oh my, literally my entire life is violating HIPAA. Like, that's
Well,
all I do.
That's what I was gonna say, right? So it must be
Yeah.
a similar dynamic because I was basically saying like, working in mental health, you notice these things about everybody else. Do you see it as the same way? You work with the elderly, so you have
People
experience.
with, it's funny, I'm literally violating HIPAA by saying that they have dementia. I'm like, is it a
Yeah.
secret? Like, yeah,
It is.
I
you
just
know,
violated HIPAA.
you are stating that there is a chance that somebody you might work with might have dementia because that is what falls under the umbrella of your type of work. Not necessarily that
Mhm.
anybody you work with has dementia, right? Because obviously
I
that's
mean,
stupid. But it's that kind of shit too, right? You do all these mental
Yeah.
gymnastics to try and jump around helping these people who have these backgrounds, but at the same time, we all have these fucking backgrounds. Just nobody wants to talk
exactly.
about it.
That's what kills me is that I can't like discuss any of my personal life, and then I do, and then I get in trouble for it because that's
Yeah.
just the type of person I am. I love talking about myself.
This
So
is,
it's like one of my residents actually, I
Mhm.
can't even say it. It's just so, it's like my work is my life, so it's all I want to talk about. But
if
okay,
you don't
basically I
violate
convinced one of my
HIPAA,
residents to go on Abilify, literally bipolar medication, because she just, and I was like, maybe ask
Mhm.
your doctor, and they just gave it to her.
and
And
like,
I mean,
I don't think you're violating HIPAA if you don't name names and everything. I
Yeah.
think legally, so I don't know if you guys know about this. I don't know if you guys have ever had this in any jobs you've ever had. When you work in mental health to any capacity, you're what automatically, you have your job title, but then you're also automatically designated a mandated reporter.
Yes.
Teachers are
Yeah.
mandated reporters.
that.
Politicians are
Probably
mandated
was.
reporters. Everybody's a mandated fucking reporter. Yeah, you might have been one at some point or another just for some basic job. Literally means I have to report any shit I hear, no matter who it comes from,
Yeah.
no matter what it is. And that's where HIPAA falls under. But
that's where I'm always like, who's gonna report me? But
I
I
don't
mean,
think you'll get reported as
I
long
try
as you
to-
have
I
a
try to
job.
For
not
the
be
ignorant
public.
people like myself.
Huh?
Oh my gosh.
What is HIPAA for the ignorant people like myself?
Basically, they just like protect people's medical information.
Yeah.
Is it like
it's
an
like the
agency,
fact that like
or-
a doctor.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's yeah, basically, I guess. Like they're kind of like the police for like people.
HIPAA is
like
the
disability
act.
rights.
HIPAA is
Yeah.
the like readout for it. There's other
Okay.
foundations that deal in HIPAA. But I want to circle back real quick. The thing about this that I think is really, really important is that one, people don't want to admit that they are involved in a mental health problem to some way too. But the thing for your friends, Diana, is that if they think you're being offensive, you're doing the opposite. You are including yourself in these people's background. You are making an equation between you and them. Ergo, you are treating them like a human being. If
I
you
do.
think that for any moment that treating a person with a disability different is the right thing to do, you're fucking wrong. That's what we did with the water fountains with black people. That's what we did with the sending the Native
Ugh.
Americans out of their homes. It's the same shit to a certain degree, even if you think you're helping. If you are dealing with somebody with a disability, you have to treat them like another human being. Like, it's crazy, right? Because a lot of the times too, my work, and I think you probably get this too, your work revolves around being told things like, this person may not understand this thing. And so when you're communicating with them, you need to use different language. I don't fucking do that. I don't ever do that. One thing I respect Jill a lot on, Jill's a teacher, and she talks to 5-year-olds like they're 30. It's amazing. And
That's so
I think
cute.
that's the thing you have to do with pretty much everybody and on the spectrum, because we are all on the spectrum. It's like this. The spectrum doesn't say everybody is disabled. The spectrum says to what degree of you being on the spectrum is interfering with the rest of your life. The people who show up to the workshop, a lot of them very easily could present as not anywhere on the spectrum and get away with it. But that's because everybody can go on the fucking spectrum. Like, because of that, they can present well because they present just the same way we do. The thing you hear from people with disabilities a lot of the time, you get these 50-year-old dudes that have had jobs and blah, 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 but they're in a program because they have a disability, because you find out that they function literally on, I found out how to make everybody not think I have a disability.
Yeah.
We all do that. Everybody does that. My clients are not the only ones that do that. I fucking do that almost all the time. The number of times I tell this story all the time of when I was in a car with my family, and I remember hearing the word fuck. And I remember being like, that gets people's attention. That's an interesting word. But I also remember you get in trouble for saying that word. What happens if you say something that sounds like that word, but it's not that word? So I'm in the back seat with my brother on this side, sister on this side. Everybody's arguing. Parents are in the front. Mom's a lesbian, so she came. They're arguing. So we're in the car, and I am just looking at everybody. I must have been 3 or 4, and I go, "Buck!" like really loud, and the dad slams on the brakes. Everybody rocks forward, and they're all looking at me, and they go, "What did you just say?" And I went, "Fuck," and they were like,
Oh my god.
"Oh, okay." Like, just kept fucking driving. So that's what happens when you do something like that. And I think that's what got me into telling jokes, was like making people think a thing and then doing the opposite kind of thing. I don't want to keep it going, Taylor. Let's move on to another subject. I have a couple more things I want to show you guys.
I get exactly what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like people want to make the argument that it's a complicated issue and treat people with disabilities with respect. Treating with them with respect literally means calling them on their bullshit. Literally means treating them like you would treat anybody else who's spouting.
I don't know, though. I honestly, personally have mental illnesses, and I feel like I'm always playing a character because I'm just like, I can't be me. I would be disgusting. So.
And I think that lines up somewhere on there, is like, I don't feel
I can't
genuine.
be myself.
Yeah.
No, I'm never genuine.
And that's okay.
I don't even know. I'm just like, I suppose.
I get that a lot too.
100%.
I think it's, and I'm hearing it a lot from my friends right now who are in their 20s. How old are you, Dinah?
20.
20? And I've heard it from a lot of people. I heard it from somebody a long time ago where I was in the middle of like my life crisis that I think I'm like kind of getting to the end of. And I heard it from somebody who was 3 years younger than me, and they were like, "Taylor, is it possible for a 24-year-old to go through a midlife crisis?" And I was like,
Yes,
"Yeah,
it is.
totally." I think it's happening to a lot of us at a younger age because not only are we getting smarter, but we're also realizing how fucked we all are, and that's making us all go
Exactly.
like, well, what the shit am I going to do? My parents say I'm supposed to have a job. They had a job when they were my age. Well, yeah, but your parents lived in a time when you ate potatoes 7 times a week. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Everybody's developing at their own pace. There's people who are living with their parents right now that are in their 40s. Like, it's not that big of a deal. My mom said it to me best a long time ago. It doesn't matter if I go to college. It doesn't matter anything else. Am I making money? Am I doing something right now to try and be better? Doesn't matter at that point if you do something. Bakersfield, you see a ton of people who are like, I'm so depressed, I don't know what to do with my life. And I'll be like, well, hey, you've done about 50 fucking musical theater shows in Bakersfield. How about you go audition in LA? Try and write some music. Try and do another musical. No, I only do musicals. Okay, there's your fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like, you know now, like, so it's just a matter of I have had some formative life changes. Maybe I'll talk about it on the podcast eventually, but I've had some formative life changes where I've kind of realized the extent to which I've resisted growing up. I still think I fall on the spectrum, but I think the only reason that I am functioning now is because I realized at some point where I was starting to fall and how hard I had to work to get out of there. And the fun introspective things I did to get there really made it a lot easier to be a better person and understand how to be empathetic and understand how to talk your way through situations and negotiate with yourself what's the difference between right and wrong. You know, I'm gonna talk about a bunch of shit I don't have on you, Diana. You're gonna take me on some tangents. Basically, drugs. Drugs. Like, drugs are great, and
Yeah.
if the thing is everybody does drugs at some point and it changes your life. All right, moving on. I'll talk about it another time. I wanted to show you guys something. So this is a dude. I want to show you some stand-up. We'll only watch it for like a second. I might skip around it for a bit. His name is Larry Beezer. He's a comedian from the 70s, and my uncle knew him. When I started doing stand-up, I was living in LA, and after living out of my car for 5 months, I got pneumonia, and I realized I had to live with my aunt and uncle. I started living with my aunt and uncle, and I spent a lot of time with my uncle, and I learned a lot about his life and things he's done. He knows I'm interested in stand-up comedy, so he starts rooting through all of these old recordings he has and stuff, and I find out from him about this comedian by the name of Larry Beezer. And Larry Beezer is like, he does a lot of material that you've probably seen before, but it's not that. It's the fact that he was doing this type of material before this type of material was famous. He was a pioneer of like comedy and stuff, and the things you're going to see, you're going to be like, that's not the type of person I would have seen doing this type of comedy. And it's just funny because he's a really good example of how famous you can get and how well you can do as an artist and how everybody can fucking forget you. So let me see here. I'm gonna pull him up.
Very positive and uplifting.
Oh, dude, you after you see this, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna tell you a story about him, and you're gonna be sad. All right, let me pause it. I'm gonna jump ahead to where he starts to stand up. What the fuck is that? Is that a
It's a
bear?
very loud screech.
All right.
Oh, that's my house. Sorry.
Yeah, I figured. I was
Is
like,
your
so
house
loud in
haunted? I
here.
mean, Jesus.
Argueta. Oh
My-
yeah, she's probably the one making noise.
My sister's screaming. I don't know.
That's okay. I forgive you for it. All right.
Oh,
Larry Beezer. This is his most famous set, essentially. We'll just watch a little bit of it. Let me see if I can get all the way. So he does, this is him, and he like talks a little bit about riding on the train, and then he does something interesting. Let's see here. So it's typical, you know, he's just doing the typical talking stuff. But then this shit right here that he's doing, okay? If you know about the movie Police Academy, there's the guy who does all the sound effects. This was before Police Academy. I believe, maybe not. It says 1984. So it's him riding on a train.
Wait, do you guys have audio?
You guys not getting
have
audio?
No.
Oh, let me see
No.
here.
No.
I didn't know if we were supposed to.
Here.
I was like, wait.
Oh, there we go.
Motherfucker just went
Oh my
inside
gosh.
and outside of a train. Like,
That was intense.
Wow.
it's super basic, right? But it's like he was doing this thing at the time that was just the sound effects. It was a new thing, and he built this whole routine based off of it. And it's I'd show you the whole thing, but it's like 5 minutes long. But he did a lot of stuff like that. Dude also played the flute.
Wow.
And asks my uncle one day, hey, I want to record a jazz album with you. And my uncle's like, okay. And he's like, I'm going to play the flute and I'm going to do my stand-up while we're playing jazz. And my uncle's like, all right. So they play fucking jazz and my uncle's on the bongos and stuff. And he's just like, so I went to put spot remover on my dog and now I can't find him. Like, it's fucking crazy. I wish I still had the
Oh
recording.
my god.
He still has it, but it's like he was really smart and he was going out of his way to do something new. And as long as I lived with my uncle, he always talked about Larry Beezer. Larry Beezer's dead. I don't know if you guys saw the rest in peace thing on there, but he's dead.
Yeah.
now. Turns out he was a rampant alcoholic. And part of the
Damn.
thing is that this motherfucker had some demons. He used to, according to my uncle and according to Larry's twin, supposedly, that I guess they both haven't seen each other since they were kids, right? This dude has a tragic fucking story. The reason I bring him up is because I wanted to make a story about him a long time ago. I didn't. And I still haven't. And it's because I'm not a very
You
good
should
writer.
do it.
I'm not a good writer. I have a really hard time getting focused and getting the project done. I've thought about it for a long time. And as you guys can see, there's a lot of material here. And I've thought about it for, it's been about 8 years now, maybe 6. And so he was an alcoholic. He did some weird art alongside doing his stand-up. According to my uncle, Larry Beezer would repeatedly disappear and you wouldn't see him for 2 years. And find him again, he's drunk and he's belligerent and he's crazy, disappear for another 2 years, come back, same shit, like now he's fine, now he's sober. And his twin, when they were kids, they were sent house to house. They were orphans, I think. and he got separated from his twin, and they grew apart, and his brother went on to do other stuff. He moved across the country. Meanwhile, Larry kind of like floated around. A while ago, I sent out a feeler, and I was like, to anybody that has any answers about who Larry was, I posted it on Reddit. I had maybe 3 or 4 people message me being like, you know Larry? I'm looking up on him all the time. And these people are in their 50s. They've been looking for stuff on Larry for 40 years. Or not 50s, they're in their 70s. They've been looking stuff on him for a long time, though. And it is really, really fucking sad. And it's not just sad him. It's sad because this is the only dude I know about. I've listened to, at this point, maybe 100 stand-up specials. I've seen a bunch of other comedians. I know tons of other comedians who have seen thousands more than me. But when I finished high school, I started studying stand-up comedy, and I started watching stand-up comedians almost every single day. I wasn't going to college. That was probably not going to happen. So that's how I chose to study my craft. When I found about Larry Beezer, it got really, really depressing because it turned into this thing of, I would like to find more Larrys out there, but how do you fucking find them? How do you, how do you even start to ask about them? And it's like, it's creepy. Like, if you think about it, you could scream out to the world, somebody please tell me about a really great comedian you personally knew. And almost everybody's going to respond with somebody that they don't have anymore. Not even just like, if this dude was still alive, he would disappear every so often. There's no guarantee he would have been around for any of these people. I am happy to know that these people have this idea of him, you know, that he'd show up and sometimes, yeah, he'd be drunk and belligerent, but he also was the funniest person in the room. He also was the person doing all this stuff. So it's like, we're in this part of time where we're all growing up and we're all seeing how fast people die and how many people die and when they're dying and who's dying. The important people we love are going to die. And so we're all like, oh my God, we're losing every single one of them. But we're losing a lot more than that all the time. I reached out to my cousin this last week. I thought he was dead. And I found out he's not dead. The problem is I have 2 cousins and I don't know where the other one's at. Everybody say hi to Lucas Bennett, Miss Pat Sedina. Oh my God. You came in at the right time. We're talking about my cousin who might be dead. So, oh my God, look at that. He's got it all. He's a vegan, just so everybody knows. He is a hardcore vegan. And he forages for his own food. He told me about eating dandelions, and he's the reason I want to eat dandelions. Did you just film something, or is this just a Lucas look today?
For today, it's my 5-month birthday, everyone. So my birthday's in 7 months. Thank you.
Well, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Good for you. Well,
I was hoping that I didn't miss everything. I'm so sorry.
we're almost at the end, but you didn't miss a whole lot. I just showed a dead comedian nobody's ever heard of. And I was bringing the house down. This is really good that you're here because I had some questions for you. And actually, right? Isn't this a good change of pace? Like, I'd rather ask him about this than talk about how depressing it is. There are comedians out there who will never see the light of day and they're dead. All right. So Lucas, tell us, what I've been wanting to know, what the fuck is Pat Sedina? Can you give us like your rundown of what it is?
The show?
Yeah.
The award-winning show. Yeah, Pat Sedina is a Instagram web series about a cyber detective that is trying to investigate a reptile-led cult.
It sounds better when he describes it. So then I was like, if you want to find it, follow Tuck the Suck Man.
Mhm.
So your brother
Yeah.
helped you come up with Pat Sedina, I'm assuming, or did you write it?
Good question. No, he is the majority of the writer. Like, the person that like comes up with a whole bunch of different ideas, and it's like, no, I just like this one specific idea, and we're gonna like really focus on that. So I feel like, I'm
You're an actor.
collaborator.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm an actor, and I just like make a bunch of choices,
Mhm.
and he's like picks the one that's really good because he
And-
wants to be a film director.
Mhm.
That's his big.
He looks like a film director. Can I just say he looks almost exactly like you.
That's interesting.
You know what I'm gonna say. So I'm not
What's the difference?
So for the three of you who don't know, Lucas's brother is he's a little balding. But other than that, they look exactly the same. It's crazy. They are like Mormon clones of one another.
Oh my god.
Except Lucas is much more fabulous, and Tucker, is this his name? Or okay, Tucker is much more looks like a detective. It's amazing. Also, just Lucas Bennett, probably one of the reasons that made me like my least favorite musical ever. Or one of my so he was in Heathers. That's part of like why I know him, is because he was in Heathers with Jill. And I didn't like that show initially because of the music and stuff. And I especially didn't like Lucas's character, but you fucking killed it. Okay.
Which character was he?
The boy. The
The one that blows up the school?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So Pat Sedina is a suck.
Yeah.
Okay, so I came up with a phrase earlier. It's either suck or fuck. Suck means you like it. Fuck means you don't. So yours is a suck. It doesn't sound like it, does it? That's a very confusing rating system.
kind of like confused.
It means like you should willingly suck off this show is what it means. Yeah, like you would enjoy getting. Okay, so it's we're getting late now. Oh my god. So book reviews. Time for Taylor's book reviews. Okay, so I have some shit I want you guys to think about reading in the future. Not right now. You don't have to do it right now. But it's just two books I've been thinking about this week that I really was like, oh, I should talk about these books because they're fucking weird. So the first one is called Lamb, The Gospel According to Biff. I've talked to a lot of people about this book.
$165?
$165 for this copy. The original print copy is about 20, maybe 10 or 5. I don't know, depending if you get it secondhand. This, I used to own a copy of this, and an ex-girlfriend set it on fire. So Lamb, the Gospel According, yes, and I don't have it anymore. It's very sad, but it's got gold embossed lining and shit like that. Like, it's fucking cool. So this is Lamb, the Gospel According to Biff, Christ's childhood pal. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is
fabulous.
The angel Gabriel, I think it is. So he's a character that the writer Christopher Moore created called the Stupidest Angel. So he could like tie all his characters together. But basically this guy, Christopher Moore, creates these really weird stories that he builds off of. And a lot of them are historically based or geographically based. Lamb, the Gospel According to Biff is about the stupidest angel coming to earth, resurrecting Jesus's best friend from his childhood and having him write the new gospel about Jesus. And basically we learn, oh, Jesus had a best friend that everybody else thought was an asshole. And so that's why he's not in the Bible. So it's Biff, Jesus's best buddy, telling stories about the like lost years of Jesus and the adventures of Jesus. Wow. They travel to China. They travel to the Middle East. They travel to India. and they explore Buddhism, Confucianism, Judaism, Islamism, Hinduism. They explore every religion, and then it ends, with the rest of the stories that we know about Jesus. Not making fun of Christianity at all. It is meant to be a comedic take that is supplementary to the other Bibles. Like, it's supposed to be read with your Bible, kind of. And
Mormon.
yeah, kind of. And like, it's not an actual gospel, but it's just funny. And I think everybody should read it at some point. Christopher Moore is a great writer, wrote another book called A Dirty Job, where it's about a dude who finds out that he's one of the deaths in the world, and finds out that for the rest of his life, his job is collecting souls. That's it. It's funny.
Ooh.
Another one is a detective who hears about a bunch of murders going on in an old like cove, like small beach town like Marina or Monterey, and a lizard has left the ocean and is eating people. And it's actually about depression. What? Like, what? It's about how it uses serotonin receptors to manipulate people's serotonin in their body.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it makes them more depressed, so they're attracted to the lizard, so it can eat them. Weird, really weird concepts. He even has a vampire book. It's better than Twilight. The second book is a real quick one. I'll show you guys the second book, and then we'll close out the show. The second book is real basic, straightforward. It's called The Day My Butt Went Psycho.
Oh my God.
So for this book, real straightforward, real good, real amazing. It's called The Day My Butt Went Psycho, and Lucas has a question already.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, in the other book, does Jesus smoke weed at any point?
No. Jesus is represented like Jesus.
Okay.
Biff might. Part of Biff's role in the story is as the person who does the bad things that Jesus can't do, so Jesus can understand sin more, i.e. fucking prostitutes. The guy writes good smut. I'll tell you right now, you want some good smut? He writes some good sexy sex scenes. The Day My Butt Went Psycho is like the complete opposite. Not really, though. It is a children's book. I read it in middle school, and I saw it, and I fell in love with this book. It is Australian. It is about a kid who wakes up in the middle of the night, and his butt is missing. And he's like, dang it, this is the 4th time this week my butt has disappeared. Why does it keep running away? And so he goes out into the night, and where does he find his butt? At the baseball field with about 300 other butts from around town. And they're all having a rally to talk about overtaking humanity. Then the local butt catcher comes into the rally, and he's like, you butts need to break it up, all right? You're being ridiculous. And they take his head off, take his butt off, put his head where his butt goes, and put his butt where his head goes. That's chapter 1. Okay.
That's everything.
The rest of the book is amazing. They ride giant flies, giant poopoises. They go to the desert where they eat stink ants. They right across the Brown Sea, where they go to the Great Volcano to face down the Great White Butt. And they also see the Great Unwiped Butt.
Oh, no.
And the description as he climbs up one of the pimples on the butt, as it bursts and he goes flying through the air, is one of the most beautiful passages I've ever read.
It doesn't sound like it would
No,
be.
that sounds
The
a bit
Day My
vile.
Butt Went Psycho, I highly recommend as a book. Lamb, the Gospel According to Biff, highly recommend as a book. So
Okay.
I just want to know real quick before we go, does anybody have any problems they would like to share today that we can talk through, that we can walk through? Anything at all? Any worries? Lucas, tell us, what's your problem?
Man. So, can you all hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Right now, my roommate is getting kind of like, convinced into a pyramid scheme.
Oh no.
What is
Yes. And you don't know how to tell him.
what's the most effective way for me to help them get out of it? Like either me help them get out of it as a bystander, or something they could say that I could like show with a whiteboard and be like, say this.
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay. Wait, I need to take notes. Hold on. Can you share your screen and take notes?
Which
The only
pyramid
screen
scheme
I
is it?
have is go back to school. Go back to school. Cause nothing stuck the first time. Go back to school. It doesn't sound like it's sticking. Maybe get a new roommate or kill the one you have. Okay, maybe not that one. I shouldn't be advocating murder, but
It is Murder Van podcast.
yeah, it is Murder Van podcast. So maybe we should perpetuate the message we're intending. I would recommend that you discuss the social economic implications of a pyramid scheme and how it financially works for one's individual value and how they start to devalue your own personal being and how they're trying to indicate that you have something you need to fix in your life. And so at the end point, you need to realize that the only way you can make money is by making money, and that any scheme that involves not making money and eventually you'll get there is not the way to go. Is kind of like solved it right there. Okay. Well,
That was
okay.
just fire.
So that was a perfect, thank you, Lucas. That was, he came in right at the perfect time. Real quick, pat on the back for yourselves. Thanks for being a great audience. I love you. I got cut off. I gotta do the shit.
What happened?
The meeting ended. Fucking Zoom. It costs, you know how much it costs for a year of Zoom? $200. I will fucking.
You're fucking lying.
I'm dead serious. I am dead serious. Okay, so you're here. So maybe if they show up in 2 seconds, it'll be worth it. I just want to say thank you to you, Diana. You've been fantastic.
Of course. I loved being here.
And you know what? Adam's here now. So you know what? I might as well say as soon as the image loads, thank you, Adam, for coming to the show. I really loved having you here. And whenever Jamie ever comes back in or Lucas ever comes back in, thank you to them. And I got cut off. Fuck Zoom. Fuck Zoom.
I was like, oh, it just ended early. I was like, okay.
So
But I did hear. Oh wait, sorry.
Go ahead. No, what were you gonna say?
Oh, is it like you can only have like 40 minutes in a meeting? Is
You
that
only
why
have
we
40
kept
minutes in a meeting.
like cutting it?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
exactly why we kept cutting it. And I was like, I can get it. I can finish the show before the end, but no, I couldn't finish the show before the end. So
Brutally
it's
cut
like,
off.
I don't know. What is the YouTubers are always saying? Like and subscribe and fucking follow my shit. Or I
Oh
don't know.
yeah.
And if people, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be that guy because it's just us talking. But I'm like, send me money so I can get a Zoom meeting that fucking doesn't do that.
Exactly.
meeting.
A membership or
God.
something. Ugh.
So okay, well, I'm like, do I wait for them now? Do I do another 20 minutes or do I end it right there? I'm you know what? I don't think that we need to go any longer. I'm gonna tell them to do their thing. Never mind. JK, not UK. JK, don't come in here. I'm naked. Okay. That means they
Well,
won't
wouldn't
enter
they
the room.
want to come in here
Yeah,
then?
why? It's like I get both the notifications right there and then. Okay, so yeah, thanks to you two. I think I might take a break next week. I don't know. I no joke, didn't even think of this one until about 2 days ago. So something to keep in mind for me, right? Like I don't want to take on too much, but I'm also like, this is the tits. I might really want to do this again. So with that being said, on my terms, I'm going to fucking end it their Zoom unless they want to pay me some shit.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
No,
but,
they're not
you know.
gonna.
Exactly.
Thanks, Adam and Diana. You guys, if you guys want
Of
to
course.
see my starfish butthole, you know where to find me. All right.